You know what absolutely grinds my gears? When people say WWE has gone soft, when they claim the Attitude Era was the last time wrestling felt real. Well, let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw a legendary manager stretchered out of an arena, gasping for air, with his own blood pooling beneath him? When was the last time you witnessed a massacre so brutal that even the cameramen looked away? Because what Bronson Reed did to Paul Heyman wasn't just an attack. It was a statement written in violence. And I'm about to tell you why this changes everything you thought you knew about WWE's future. Hit that like button if you're ready for the truth, because what I'm about to reveal is going to shake you. What's up, WrestleScope Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we break down the real stories behind the curtain, the moments that define eras, and the attacks that nobody sees coming. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're diving into the most shocking assault in recent WWE history. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Paul Heyman being loaded into that ambulance might be the most important moment of 2025. Let's set the stage. Paul Heyman, the wise man, the special counsel, the man who has stood beside legends, the architect behind Brock Lesnar's dominance, the mastermind who elevated Roman Reigns from the guy to the tribal chief. This isn't just any manager, people. This is a man who has survived decades in the most cutthroat industry on the planet. He's been put through tables, he's been speared, he's been humiliated, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what Bronson Reed did to him. But here's where it gets interesting. Why Heyman? Why now? See, WWE wants you to think this was just another attack, just another monster making a statement. But I've been watching this business long enough to know that nothing happens by accident. Every bruise tells a story. Every ambulance ride is a breadcrumb leading to something bigger. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute warpath lately. The man is a 330-pound wrecking ball who moves like he's half that size. He's been destroying everyone in his path. But Paul Heyman? That's not just destruction. That's personal. That's calculated. That's sending a message to someone who wasn't even in the ring that night. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. Now let me paint you a picture of what went down, because if you weren't watching, you missed one of the most visceral moments in WWE this year. The arena was electric, the crowd was hot, and then Bronson Reed's music hit. That's when you could feel the energy shift. This wasn't a normal entrance. This was a man on a mission. Reed stormed to the ring with a look in his eyes that screamed violence. And there, standing at ringside, trying to avoid the carnage, was Paul Heyman. Big mistake. Reed's eyes locked onto Heyman like a predator spotting wounded prey. The wise man tried to back away, his hands raised, probably trying to talk his way out of it like he's done 1,000 times before. But here's the thing about Bronson Reed. He's not interested in conversation. He's not interested in negotiation. He's interested in destruction. What happened next was brutal. Reed grabbed Heyman like he was a child. The so-called wise man looked helpless in the grip of his absolute unit of a human being. And then, the first slam. Heyman's body crashed against the announcer's table. The sound echoed through the arena. But Reed wasn't done, not even close. He picked Heyman up again. Another slam. This time onto the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. Heyman's screams could be heard even over the roaring crowd. Some were cheering, some were shocked into silence. But Reed was just getting started. Here's where it gets insane. Bronson Reed rolled Heyman into the ring, and that's when we all knew what was coming. The tsunami. Reed's devastating top rope splash that has ended careers. A 330-pound man launching himself from the top rope with the force of a freight train. One tsunami. Heyman's body convulsed on impact. The crowd went silent, but Reed climbed back up. Another tsunami. Heyman wasn't moving anymore. Referees rushed the ring. Medical staff sprinted down the ramp. And Reed? He just stood there, staring at the destruction he'd caused with absolutely no remorse in his eyes. This wasn't a man who'd lost control. This was a man who had complete control and chose violence. The cameras caught everything. Paul Heyman, the man who's talked his way out of every situation, was being fitted with a neck brace. He was loaded onto a stretcher. The oxygen mask went over his face as he struggled to breathe. And as they wheeled him up that ramp toward the waiting ambulance, you could see it in his eyes. Fear. Real, genuine, unscripted fear. Now here's where this story gets even more interesting and why you need to pay attention. Social media exploded. Within minutes, #PrayForHeyman was trending worldwide. Wrestlers from all promotions were posting their reactions. Stone Cold Steve Austin tweeted about it. Mick Foley called it one of the most disturbingly realistic attacks he's ever seen. Even wrestlers from AEW were talking about it. That's when you know something hit different.
But let's talk about what WWE did next, because this is where the genius shows. They didn't immediately give us answers. They didn't have Roman Reigns come out and cut a promo. They let it breathe. They let us sit with the horror of what we'd witnessed. Updates started trickling in slowly. Paul Heyman has been transported to a local medical facility. Then, he's undergoing evaluation for potential injuries. The WWE machine turned this into must-see television because we all wanted to know, is Heyman okay? What does this mean for the bloodline? And most importantly, who put Reed up to this? Because let's be real here, Bronson Reed is dangerous. Bronson Reed is a monster. But Bronson Reed targeting Paul Heyman specifically, that smells like someone whispered in his ear. Someone wanted to send Roman Reigns a message. Someone wanted to take away the only person who's been in Roman's corner since day one. Is it Solo Sikoa making a power play? Is it CM Punk trying to get into Roman's head before their inevitable collision? Is it someone we're not even thinking about? A returning superstar? Someone from NXT looking to make the biggest splash possible? This is what separates casual fans from people who understand the business. This attack wasn't just about Bronson Reed looking strong. This was a chess move in a game that's been playing out for months. Think about it. Roman Reigns has been untouchable, even when he lost the title, even when the bloodline fractured. The one constant was Paul Heyman. The wise man has been the foundation of Roman's empire. He's the strategist, the manipulator, the insurance policy. And now, that foundation just got shattered. What does Roman do without Heyman? How does the tribal chief function when his wisest counsel is in a hospital bed? This is exactly what someone wants. They don't want to just beat Roman in the ring. They want to dismantle everything he's built. They want to watch his empire crumble from the inside out. And Bronson Reed? He just became the most dangerous free agent in WWE, because whoever orchestrated this just showed they have the resources and the influence to weaponize a 330-pound destroyer. That's terrifying for everyone on the roster. But here's my bold prediction, and I want you to comment below if you agree or disagree with me on this. I don't think Paul Heyman is done. I think this attack, as brutal as it was, is going to light a fire under the bloodline like we've never seen before. When Heyman returns, and he will return, he's going to be more dangerous than ever. Why? Because Paul Heyman's greatest weapon was never his physicality, it's his mind. And you just gave that mind a reason for revenge. Now, I've got to address the elephant in the room, because I know some of you are thinking it. Was this too much? Did WWE go too far? Look, I've seen the comments on social media. This is too violent. They're going to get someone hurt doing this. Why are they making wrestling so dark again? And to those people I say, where were you during the Attitude Era? Where were you when Stone Cold got his neck broken? When Mick Foley got thrown off Hell in a Cell? When Edge speared Lita through a table? Wrestling has always walked this line between entertainment and realism.
The greatest moments in this industry happen when we forget we're watching a show and start believing we're witnessing something real. The Paul Heyman attack worked because it felt real. The stretcher, the ambulance, the fear in his eyes. That's what makes wrestling art. That's what creates moments that transcend the business and become part of pop culture. But I want to hear from you. Comment below. Did WWE go too far, or is this exactly what wrestling needs? Because your opinion matters to this conversation. So where do we go from here? What's next for Bronson Reed? What's next for Paul Heyman? What's next for the bloodline? Here's what I think happens. WrestleMania's coming, the biggest stage of them all. And I believe everything we're seeing right now is building towards something massive. This attack on Heyman isn't the end of a story, it's the beginning. Roman is going to want blood. Bronson Reed just painted a target on his back the size of Texas. And whoever is pulling Reed strings, they just started a war they might not be ready for. I'm predicting we get a massive multi-man match at WrestleMania. Roman and the Bloodline versus Bronson Reed and whoever his allies turn out to be. And Paul Heyman, if he's medically cleared, I guarantee you he's going to be at ringside, probably in a wheelchair, watching as Roman gets his revenge. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. What if Paul Heyman doesn't come back the same? What if this attack changes him? What if the wise man decides he's tired of being a target and wants to step back? That opens the door for someone new to step in as Roman's counsel, and that could change the entire landscape of WWE. Listen, WrestleScope Nation, what we witnessed with Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed wasn't just another wrestling angle. It was a turning point. It was a moment that reminded us why we love this business. Because when it's done right, when the stakes feel real, when the emotion is genuine, there's nothing like professional wrestling. Paul Heyman being stretchered out of that arena is an image that's going to be replayed for years. It's going to be in video packages. It's going to be referenced in promos. This is the kind of moment that defines eras. So here's what I need from you. If this video got you fired up, if you're as invested in this storyline as I am, smash that like button. Drop a comment below telling me your theories about who's behind this attack. Is it Solo? Is it Punk? Is it someone we're not even thinking about? And if you haven't already, subscribe to WrestleScope and turn on those notifications, because we're going to be covering every twist and turn of this story as it develops. This is the kind of wrestling that matters. This is the kind of storytelling that keeps us coming back. And I promise you, we're only seeing the beginning of something legendary. I'm out. Stay scoped in, Nation. And remember, in the world of